Well, it's Sunday in June and we've had quite a lot of reasonably heavy weather, and now it's turned a lot lighter. So plan is to do a solo trip for a week and go off west. Lots of places I haven't visited, or I haven't visited for a long time. Studland Bay is one of them, Chapman's Pool, Lulworth Cove, those sort of places, and show you some of the pretty bits of Dorset, and then come back for the weekend when hopefully Bill will join me and we'll go a bit further afield. So we're just getting ready. I'm just going off the before casting off checklist. Stow loose items, check log impeller, check engine oil, etc, life jacket, sunscreen, etc, etc, etc. Get the life jacket on. Now it's time for the sunscreen. I dislike this stuff, but it does help. A useful tip when you're single-handed, and for that matter any time really, is when you're leaving, is to attach a central line. So I've got a cleat here and a bit of rope here, and we're going to attach it from there to this cleat here, and then you can haul on that tight, and the boat's not going to go anywhere really. And then you can get rid of all the other lines and just hop aboard and release this as you go. So lovely sunny days. Sunday, a lot of people going back home after the weekend, whereas I'm going out, which is much better. A little bit of tide on that buoy over there, which is helping me, and we're doing 7 knots through the water, it says. So a little bit more than that over the ground, I would think. That's Gill Kicker Point over there. Gill Kicker Point behind us, and the wind's dropped right away. We're looking at about 5 or 6 knots, and we're doing a couple of knots. I don't think in the past, without this propeller, we would have done that. We would have been virtually stationary. Looks like there's a bit more wind over there, the other side of that yacht, so we're just heading that general direction. Well, the wind's all but disappeared. 3 knots at the moment. We're taking a knot through the water and a little bit more over the ground. I'm going to tack in a minute and head over towards the Isle of Wight for 2 reasons. A, because I want to be over there anyway, but B, there'll be a stronger tide in our favour over there, and that will whip us down the Solent a bit more quickly. It'll fill in eventually. It's just a lunchtime lull, I think. We've got a bit more breeze now, 8 knots, and we're doing 2.93 knots. Would help if I steered the boat better. We're going well. We're round Cows. It's always very windy through there because the wind funnels through the gap. It's much more pleasant now, and we've got 18 knots of wind. The extra 2 or 3 makes such a difference, and we've still got a roaring tide underneath us, which is helping. So I'm pinching quite hard on the assumption that the tide will make up for it. We're probably going to go into Newtown Creek tonight. I don't see any sense in bashing anywhere any further. Have a nice night in Newtown Creek and then get on towards Poole tomorrow. That's the entrance marker for Newtown Creek, and then you steer pretty much south, and where the boats are going in and out, there's a little gap between the shingle bank, and that's the entrance. It's a very pleasant place. It looks very busy today. I have a vague suspicion I won't find anywhere there to anchor. Maybe, you never know. The entrance is reasonably wide, but it pays to keep to the left hand side of the channel, because it's quite deep there and it shelves up quite quickly to starboard, so keep to port. Well, that's a nice surprise. I found a spare buoy just inside the entrance. It's interesting to compare the view at half tide with the one from the air at low tide. You really do have to take note of the navigation marks in here. Lots of shallow places. If you've got to have a motorboat, then you really ought to get one like this. Isn't that classic? Just leaving Newtown. Almost no wind at all. What there will be, I think, will be sea breezes as the thermals build up. It's a very, very quiet night, very pleasant. I do love it in there. Very quiet morning. Motoring down towards Yarmouth at the moment. I think the only wind there is what we're generating ourselves. This is a good place to catch mackerel on the banks here. There's a bit of a race, and in the past I have caught mackerel here. Well, I got this a bit wrong this morning. This tide's a lot stronger than I expected. We're doodling along at about 4.5 knots through the water, barely making 1.7 over the ground. I'm coming close inshore to cheat the tide as much as possible. And what wind there is, instead of being on the beam as I thought it was going to be, is pretty much on the nose. I hate to say it, but I've screwed up. Anyway, we'll make the best of it and chog along, and the tide will ease and we'll be out in the channel before you know it. Oh, well, the wind's filled in a bit and it's in not too bad a direction, so we've got sails up now and beating to windward at nearly 5 knots, so can't complain at that. I'm getting a little bit concerned about that fog over there. Can't see the Needles, I can't even see Hurst Castle at the moment. Anyway, we're away from getting there, so we'll have to see what happens. But it might be a turn back job. I'm not sailing into fog, that's for sure. Change of plan. I don't like the look of that fog over there. It's not getting any better. In fact, it's getting worse. And if it extends well into the channel, very easy to get in a mess. So I'm going to turn back. Maybe go back to Newtown, I don't know, we'll see. That's the Isle of Wight ferry coming out of Lymington. As you can see, it's quite misty. He's been honking his hooter, his foghorn, so I think it's wise to go back. You can see Yarmouth is completely obscured, as is all that lot over there, completely gone. Plan is we're heading towards Newtown, and probably foghorns going off all over, and probably anchor just outside and see what happens. It doesn't seem sensible to continue into this, that's for sure. Well, we might have another change of plan. The fog's clearing away quite rapidly actually. I can now see Hurst Castle and Yarmouth. Just have to say, it looks quite different. The sky looks quite different. Sort of sea fret thing, I think it was really, rather than fog. Anyway, we'll just keep an eye on it for a little while and maybe go back. Weather's improving by the second. I can now see all the way along the coast beyond Hurst Castle, so a bit of a false alarm, that fog, but it did look pretty bad and it was getting worse, and then suddenly it just cleared. So that's where we're going, slowly. Tacking backwards and forwards. Amazing, it's clear as a bell now. There's Hurst Castle, and we're just tacking across to the island shore, and then we'll be tacking back. I don't know whether we're going to make it out this go. Tide's starting to come with us, which is a real help. Well, at last we're making it past Hurst Castle. We're doing the inside passage, and wind's fair for that, and when we get to the end of the inside passage we'll probably tack out, but gone is the fog, thank goodness, so it's happy days. Well, we've passed Hurst Castle and we're now running along this shingle bank, which is the protection of the Solent against the channel. If that goes, the Solent will not be such a nice place to be. This little green buoy marks the end of the North Channel, and we're going to go a bit beyond it, and then we're going to tack out. Nice beach over there, very colourful display of beach huts. fairly close inshore, but we've still got 28 feet of water under the keel, so I'm going to hang on for a bit longer before we tack out. According to the log here, we're doing 6.4 knots. According to the plotter down below, speed over the ground is over 8 knots, because we've got quite a fair bit of tide underneath us. They do like their beach huts around here, don't they? Look at that lot over there. Amazing. Well, it's a lovely day today. It would be really pleasant, I should think, in a beach hut today. We're all ready to tack. We've got the E-winch on the winch ready to go. I've got the main sheet midships. It's a sort of compromise setting for during attack. And just watching the bottom really. And there's the other winch which we need to get the line up. That's Hurst Castle back there. There's a strange wind shift going on. As we're going along the coast, we're able to stay. This is quite a curve on this coastline, and we're just following the coastline, and the wind's sort of coming with us, so it's really good. The wind's dropped off a bit, it's 10 knots, but we're doing 6 knots over, through the water, so you can't complain at that, can you? I'm just watching the depth very carefully, because when that gets down to about 15 feet, then I'm away and we're ready to tack, so we'll tack out. There's a lot of people out here motoring, including this guy here. They don't know what they're missing. It's a lovely day, and if you've got to go to windward, then this is the conditions, isn't it? I'm still hanging on, creeping along this shore. We're down to 19 feet under the keel at the moment, but it's been constant like that for a while. Wind's dropped off a bit, down to 10 knots, sometimes a bit less, but eventually we're going to have to tack out there, and with those boats over there, a long gone time we get out there, I think. But it's a lovely day, it really is. But nice sea state, visibility is very good after the fog this morning, which was a bit disconcerting. So all in all, what a pleasant day. Where else would you rather be? That's Christchurch Harbour pretty much dead ahead of us, and that's Hengersbury Head, and in a minute we're going to tack. We're down to about 19 feet of water. It's been a long run along this coast, though. It's lovely. As you can see, we've tacked now. Wind's dropped off a little bit, but we're gradually making our way back out to sea. This little boat's been following us all the way from Hurst Castle. I wonder if they're going to tack yet. There's the Needles. We've just tacked, so we're about as far out as the Needles, and I think there's the little boat that's been following us, sagging away a bit, unfortunately. It's a bit shorter, I think. There's the coast that we were travelling along earlier on. There's Hengersbury Head, the sort of brown lump. So this is the chart. We've just come out of the Solent here and gone along this north channel, all the way along the coast, which is really good. And then we tacked, and then we tacked again about here, and we're now travelling along in this direction, and we're going to end up in Poole. Now the entrance to Poole Harbour is at the Bar Buoy, which is there, and normally what we do is we turn right and go up the channel into Poole itself, but we're not going to do that this time. We're going into Studland Bay, which is here, and over in the left hand side there, that's where the moorings are, and I believe you can anchor there as well. There have been some restrictions recently because of seagrass. There's seagrass meadows underwater, and they provide home for what the heck do they call? So that's where we're heading for tonight. Studland Bay on the nose. Pretty good, really. You can see here on the plotter, sorry about the bumpies, the red line is the course that the boat's actually steering. The green line is the course made good. The yellow bit here is the wind direction, and the blue bit is the tide. The longer it is, the stronger it is. This great big one snuck up behind us while I was down below looking at the chart plotter. He's going a little bit faster than we are, but pretty much on the same course. There's the Needles way in the distance, and we're in Studland Bay. We've just gone past this line of yellow buoys which says sensitive area for seagrass, and we're heading towards, looks like, the anchoring and mooring area. I don't know anything at all about this. There's very little information on the chart and what have you, so we're just moseying in and seeing what we can find. There appear to be a load of mooring buoys, so we'll go and have a look and see whether we can find one of those. Well, there's lots and lots and lots of mooring buoys all over the place. Very well looked after. I just need to get this one in the right place, and we're there for the night. I think it tells you how to pay for it over there, and I'm quite sure what I understand about Sippy, but no doubt we'll find out. Well, this is really nice. It's nice and sheltered. A little bit of swell in here, but nothing too untoward. A lot of boats, but there's a lot of mooring buoys. Very well laid out, and the buoys are easy to get hold of, even for a beginner or a single person like me. I caught the buoy and I was still going quite quickly. Probably a knot, maybe a bit less. That was quite interesting, but I managed to get it onto a cleat, and all went well. So there we are. That's where we've come from, all the way there from the Isle of Wight, and it's been a good sail really. After the abortive start with the fog and stuff, it's been absolutely lovely. Ah well, time to try out the drone. Well, this little trip hasn't gone quite according to plan. We're still here in Studland Bay. The wind yesterday was pretty negligible, and I wasn't unhappy about having a lay day because I had a migraine the night before. But today I intend to just motor around to Swanage, have a look at Swanage, and then the wind's going to fill in according to Predict Wind from the south. So I think we'll head back to the Solent. The wind's going to get very much stronger the next couple of days from the west, so bashing to windward towards Portland doesn't seem sensible when I've got to be back by the weekend anyway, so I might as well go back. And the other downside is I've managed to bung up the toilet, so I don't quite know what I'm going to do about that, but nothing here. I think I'll wait till I get back and tackle that. It's something I've dreaded somebody else doing. I never thought I'd do it, but there you go. One of the joys of yachting, isn't it? The sea toilet. Bye bye Studland. There's a bit of a race here. There's a ledge coming out from Old Harry Rock there. It's a bit shallow here. I've got about 12 feet under the keel considering it's so far out. In a minute we'll be able to go closer to the cliffs, because they're really quite interesting. That lovely white chalk is visible for so many miles out to the east. There's Swanage ahead. Well, that's interesting. The lifeboats made it at full tilt, into Swanage Bay. Wonder what's going on over there. Maybe we'll find out if we get a bit closer. Maybe it's an exercise. I can't see anything. Nobody waving their arms or anything like that. It's quite close inshore though. Meanwhile, the world carries on. Here's this guy water skiing. He did a very interesting tumble just now. We'll leave it for now. We'll keep an eye on it. Looking back, the lifeboat is exactly where he was before, and we're just progressing along the shore of Swanage. Lots of beach huts and things. Lots of buildings up on the hill. One of them's a hotel that I spent a night in many years ago when going to a wake for a friend that was held in Swanage. Never thought when I was in the hotel that I'd end up with another boat. It's quite pretty from here actually. These boats all look as if they're anchored. Rather more than I expected really. And up here is the small number of permanent moorings. Quite a few spare buoys actually. So there we are, that's Swanage. Looks very nice today. Wouldn't be so nice in a bit of a blow, I don't think. The lifeboat's still over there, in exactly the same place, no idea what's going on. And there's a bit of wind filling in, as predicted, and I'm going to make my way out there, east towards the Isle of Wight. Well, this motoring stuff is pretty tedious really, isn't it? That's Portsmouth, and there's Hengistbury Head, Christchurch, and over this side there's the Needles. It's all a bit misty, well it's hazy I suppose. When heading for the North Channel buoy, this clever chart plotter and autopilot combination works really well. I don't really have to steer at all, and I just have to watch out for not bumping into things. There's absolutely no wind at all, it's completely flat. But just checked the chart plotter and we're pretty much spot on the green buoy. I can see it, I think. Another nice thing is that the wind has picked up. You see it on the water there. According to the wind speed indicator, 8 knots. I think we'll hang on for a bit before we think about putting sails up. Oh, this is a bit better. We're heading directly for Hurst Castle itself. This is really nice. It's slower than the motor, but so much more peaceful and pleasant. Oh, isn't sailing wonderful? We're doing just barely a quarter of a knot slower than we were under the engine, and it's almost complete silence apart from the water going past. 12 knots of wind now. We're doing 4.6, 4.7 knots, which is just splendid. Interesting place, Hurst Narrows. The tide's going out quite hard here at the moment, and setting up the overfalls there. I'm trying to creep in to get closer inshore. Once I get through this gap, and then I'm off over to the North Shore, where the tide will be a lot less against me. But getting through here is quite tricky. I've had to start the engine. There just isn't enough wind to blow us through against this tide, and even with the engine it's quite tricky. Very swirly, very violent swirls underwater. You can see it's not very nice over there. It's very deep actually, it's not shallow. Over there it's about 70 or 80 feet. We're in the shallow bit here at the moment, which is 14, but any minute now we're going to be in the swirly bit, and it won't be anywhere near as shallow. Here we go. Yeah. Once we get through this, we can then get over
to port and go up the north shore of the Solent, which is the mainland side, and it looks like we're going to have the wind pretty much behind us. We'll be wing on wing and out of the tide, out of the worst of the tide. Well, this is jolly good. Wing on wing, doing 5 knots with apparently quite a lot of wind behind me. 14 knots, so that's 20 knots of wind nearly, isn't it? I'm trying to get to my left to port, to get on the north side of the Solent, because that's where the tide is the least. It's running quite hard here because this is the main shipping channel, but if I can get across there, then I'll be faced with a knot maybe against me rather than 2 or 3, so it's best if I can get over there, and we're doing it quite well. 5.5 knots at the moment, can't complain at that. Still running wing on wing down the Solent, doing 5.5 knots through the water, about 2.9 over the ground. Biggest problem is dodging all these people who are racing at the moment, but they don't seem to come beyond that buoy, so that's okay. Bit of a blow. I'm going to have to jibe all this lot because I want to go over there, and the wind is taking me over there, so I need to be on the other jibe. So lots of fun and messing around now. Well, we're still going downwind, wing on wing, averaging 4.8 knots. So we've got a tide against us, so that 5 knots comes down to about 2.5, 3, but it's very pleasant really. Just be glad when the tide stops because we'll be roaring along then. We're just approaching Bewley. I was afraid the wind might drop away, but it hasn't. It's peaked up, if anything. 20 knots apparent, and we're doing 6.2 knots, it says there. We're close inshore here near Bewley and out of the tide and getting along quite nicely. So it's quite a pleasant sail really. I'm not so sure I want to do it the other way right this minute, but it's good going downhill, so to speak. Just been down, had a look at the plotter, and we're doing 3.8 over the ground, 6.4 through the water at the moment, so we've still got quite a bit of tide against us. Gill Kicker Fort in the evening sunshine, and you can see the green post. It's low water at the moment, and you can see now why you're warned not to go inside the green post, beyond that shingle bank pretty quickly. There's a ship coming out now, a big white one. Looks like a cruise liner, I'm not sure, but anyway, we're gradually making our way into the channel and staying over to the left of it.